The Boys is finally back. The new season brings with it more gore and over-the-top violence that holds a mirror on the sanitized depiction of superheroes we see in the Marvel movies. The beloved series' new season is supposedly the wildest one yet. Karl Urban told The Guardian his thoughts on the new season and his role in the next Star Trek movie. First up, the new season of The Boys. There are things about season 3 that, once you've seen them, you'll never unsee them, is how Karl Urban opened his statement. For Urban, who plays the lead character, Billy Butcher, on the show, such a description doesn't come lightly. Butcher is known to be the character on the show that loves violence the most. He's not fazed by guts flying in his face or that fight with the love sausage in season 2. Last season, when he used the baby with laser eyes as a weapon in a fight, he gleefully remarked that it was diabolical. So right off the bat, we know this season won't be pulling any punches. The Boys features Billy and his gang trying the impossible task of taking down superheroes that have godlike powers. The show's popularity exploded over lockdown, and that's why for this return, Amazon is going all out. But people were wondering just how many times Butcher and the rest can escape alive when they're so outmatched. So this time, there's an unexpected twist to decide to even the playing field. You heard that right. The Boys will be taking a new variation of Compound V themselves. This version will give them powers too, but just for 24 hours. Billy Butcher is already a formidable foe without having superhuman abilities, but when going against Homelander, you need all the help you can get. This way they'll have an actual fighting chance instead of having to trick Homelander or just run when things go sour. And there's another enemy for Butcher to face this season, one that scares him more than superpowered psychopaths trying to kill him: fatherhood. Billy has to struggle to balance his goal of getting revenge for Becca with the new responsibility of raising Ryan. With Becca gone, we see Billy stumble around as he figures out how to not let his violent personality spill over in his interactions with Ryan. Urban says that this responsibility is something Butcher never anticipated, that you can't be both a parent and a superhero fighting vigilante. Next, we have a Herogasm. One scene in particular that everyone's looking forward to is the infamous Herogasm. In the comics, Herogasm is an annual event organized by Vought. It features all the superheroes getting to go on a remote island where they engage in various acts of debauchery. After an entire weekend of sex, drugs, and general disbasement, the heroes go back to their regular lives. This event is covered up by Vought, faking a world-ending crisis that requires every superhero to partake. Ever since the show started, people have been wondering if Herogasm would be featured on screen, and it seems we have our answer. Eric Kripke was asked, and he confirmed that we would be seeing Herogasm on screen. What did Karl Urban have to say about the superhero orgy? He said it was difficult to talk about without spoiling the season, but the one thing he did give away gives us a pretty good idea of just how intense it's gonna be. According to Urban, Jensen Ackles, who plays Soldier Boy, came on set one day during the filming of Herogasm. He turned to one of the cameramen and said, "Hey buddy, how's it going?" The cameraman has his 1,000-yard stare and goes, "Dude, I've seen some shit." It's unclear exactly how this scene will play out in the show, especially since we know both Homelander and Soldier Boy were a pretty big part of it in the comics, won't be partaking. But based on the reaction of the poor cameraman, Amazon is taking the no-holds-barred approach. And now for Urban's struggle with the new season. It has been all fun for Karl Urban, however. The actor detailed his struggle with filming this new season. Similar to Billy Butcher, he found it really hard to balance his home life and his work life. In the last 2 seasons, he was able to do whatever he wanted when there were breaks during shoots, but not this time. COVID was at its peak during season 3's production season, so Urban had to spend a lot more time locked up on set. He said that while he still felt incredibly blessed to be a part of the show, there were huge sacrifices that he had to make. His busy schedule forced him to miss countless birthdays, even funerals of people that he knew. He said that for this season, he had to spend 7 whole months away from home, so it affected his mental state pretty strongly. It was the first time he had to be separated from his normal life for so long. Urban's kids aren't as young as Ryan, so they don't need as much constant physical attention, but it's still a struggle. Now as he gets older, he says he hopes he gets as much time with them as possible. So 7 months apart must have been really hard for the actor. Let's discuss Star Trek and his acting journey. In the meantime, he's been working on other projects too. When asked about a possible Star Trek 4 though, he was pretty tight-lipped. According to him, it's in development and has been for a while now. The studio has attached a director already, and right now they're working on scripts. As soon as they're called, the cast is all ready to come back, says Urban. He wouldn't give any details, but that's probably because there aren't any this early in production. He did open up about his other roles though. He said that back in New Zealand, it was hard for him to really get started in the industry, so he moved to Australia to get a bigger market, but it was still a struggle. Being an entirely new environment only added to that, so he returned to New Zealand, and to his luck, one of his New Zealand films reached the table of Peter Jackson, who at the time was looking for actors for Lord of the Rings. That was when his life changed. The unprecedented success of those movies propelled Urban to the US market, and now he's landed so many beloved roles it's hard to keep track. There's Star Trek and Dread, of course, but Urban also recently had a role in Thor Ragnarok, and now with how popular his character in The Boys has become, it's clear that it's only up from here. Next, in other related news, The Boys Twitter account shares multiverse versions of the heroes. Similar to the Captain America Soldier Boy video earlier, The Boys has released yet another spoof of a famous superhero film. In a parody of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, the official Twitter account for the show posted alternate versions of its own characters. First off is a splice of A-Train and Mother's Milk, seen sipping tea while sporting A-Train's signature sunglasses and smiling. Next is a version of the the Deep mixed with Frenchie, and finally a version of Homelander crossed with Huey, complete with the blood splatter Huey often finds himself covered in, and Homelander's thousand-yard stare. While the show is known for poking fun at popular superhero culture, one has to wonder, is this simply a one-off gag, or is it hinting at something deeper regarding the story of the new season? Only time will tell. And lastly, Karen Fukuhara and Claudia Domit on the importance of representation. The Boys pushes the boundaries not just as a superhero show, but any TV show. The amount of blood and entrails on screen in any given episode has got to be a record. But that's not the only place where The Boys is setting new standards. It also has a diverse cast, and many times this can feel gimmicky. In fact, the show even made fun of half-baked diversity efforts in the show with Girls Get It Done. But in The Boys, it's done tastefully and effectively. Gender and racial minority characters play both the good guys and the bad guys, and are given complex storylines. It never feels forced or awkward. Karen Fukuhara, who plays Kamiko, told Hindustan Times about how she feels about the quality of representation on the show. She said that superhero media, especially comic books, but also movies, have always been very male-centric. That's changing now with this new generation of TV shows. Domit added that in the past, like in the 1991 movie Samurai Cop, female characters were sexualized all the time. The Boys represent how far we've come with representation. Fukuhara also brought up ethnic representation, and how important it is that the show is helping change the narrative around these issues. Last season showed the rise and fall of Stormfront, mirroring the online white supremacist radicalization that we see building up in the real world today. Both Fukuhara and Domit believe that art imitates life, and that by responsibly portraying real-life issues, the show plays a role in making the world more human and how we see each other. That's a wrap for this video. Are you going to be tuning in for the new season of The Boys? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one!